Hey folks, what's shaking? I've been meaning to make this video for a while. It's kind of a Debbie Downer. I'm gonna try to make it a little bit more humorous. And since it's the end of the year, I'm gonna document my worst purchase, my worst experience as a buyer for 2024. And it was a WhatNot sale from a Canadian, this hoser from up north that sold me this copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 238. It's a book that I was wanting for a long time. So let me give you a little bit of backstory. Starting out, I started buying comic books at the beginning of 2023. Somehow I ended up on WhatNot, and I'm mainly interested in Spider-Man books. And there was a Canadian show, probably one of the biggest ones on WhatNot, and he was having his first, as far as I know, big Amazing Spider-Man weekend sale. And I spent a couple $1,000 or more during that first sale that he did. And to be honest with you, I liked his shows. He played cool music. I found it to be a bit educational because I didn't really know much. And but after a while, I started realizing that his prices were inflated. So he's affiliated with some kind of antiquated price guide. He would, say stuff like, "I value this as such and such," and you could look on eBay and look at the sold, but hit the sold button on those same items, and it was usually 20, 30 or more percent less than what he was saying. So I took a break after a while and just stopped buying. And then the following year, he had his second Amazing Spider-Man sale. And I'd been saving money to get a nice, I was wanting to get my best ASM book. And this is one here that I've been wanting for a long time. It's the first appearance of the Hobgoblin. And I think he had 3 or 4 copies of it. And I won the auction on the second or third one. I'm not really sure. And then I went to sleep. I'm a teacher. I work in the warmest town in the United States where it's hotter than you can imagine in summertime. So this was in April, and about a month later my semester ended, and I leave the day after the graduation ceremony, and I get to avoid this sweltering 120-degree heat for about 90 days. So the year before, during his first Amazing Spider-Man sale, I had books that I bought held up in Canadian customs for weeks. And it took forever for them to finally show up. So when I bought this, I was tracking it every day, knowing that I needed to get it before my semester ended, or I wasn't going to be there to get the package. And it would be sitting in a mailbox in triple-digit temperatures. So after about 2-3 weeks, I finally emailed the guy, and I'm like, "Hey, this hasn't shipped. When am I going to get this book?" And he says, "Well, I just got back from my honeymoon, and I'm going to ship it tomorrow." And I was fairly angry with that. I've been selling on eBay for a few years. On eBay, we have to ship items within 4 days or we get in trouble. I usually ship within 24 hours. I have a 100% seller record. And I'm like, what kind of amateur hour is it to have this gigantic sale where you're making thousands and thousands of dollars and then making everybody wait till you get back from your honeymoon before you ship? Maybe it's bad timing to have the sale then, or maybe you should have spent a couple days before you left to get all this shipped off. I just don't think that's cool at all. So I asked for a refund. He hadn't shipped the book yet. And he was like, "No, you're not getting a refund." And then he shipped it the next day. And I told him he was full of shit about something, because I realized, listening to his show, that he was bragging about himself and how great he was for like 90% of every show that he did. The dude's ego's through the roof, okay? So he refused to give me a refund, and then he shipped the book the next day. I think I got it a couple weeks later. I was pushing close to the end of my semester. I liked the guy enough beforehand that I bought the press that he recommended. And I regret that too, because it runs at like 300 degrees and you cannot turn it down. And I've got, these books on cleaning and pressing comic books, and they'll be like, in this age of a comic book, you should have your press at 180 degrees or 220 degrees or something like that. And a lot of these, especially more modern books, my press was 300 degrees. It was running super hot, way too hot for a lot of the books that I wanted to do. I actually melted the pages on one just trying to give it a try. I've been trying to sell the dang thing for over a year on Facebook Marketplace. If you want it, I can put in the description here what the name of the press is, and if you want to buy it from me, I'll give you a hell of a deal. So I finally get the book, and I'm like, I'm not going to press it. He blocked me for telling me he was full of shit. I was unable to view the video of the receipt. So I was banned from the shows, all that stuff. I had no idea that he thinks this thing, it was perfect. When I bought it, it said, like new old stock. So during some of my emails with him, when I was trying to tell him about this thing, so I sent this to comicpresser.com. It's a big company in Atlanta, Georgia. Look at their reviews. They're all outstanding. You've got people that are turning 8.0s into 9.4s and doing great work. After he started looking at my book, he sent me an email and called me because I had them to send this from Atlanta to CGC to be graded and then to me. But I told him that I thought it was worth $1,000. And the guy called, it's like, you're going to want to redo your CGC submission because this is not worth $1,000. There are signs of color touch and restoration on the book. That's why it has a purple label. Now, the hoser up north claims that somebody pulled a switcheroo, either me or them, and that the book that he sent to me was brand new from Diamond Comic Distribution of Ted Krieg in the 1980s. I'm sure that's something Canadian. I really don't know. That doesn't mean anything to me. And then he also said, because I complained a lot, I tried to file a return with WhatNot, and they denied me because it took too long. And probably one of the reasons it took so long was because of the honeymoon and all this waiting around before the thing even shipped. Okay, but so I emailed him after I found out about this thing having restoration and color touch, and he says, I can suggest you sell the book. You paid half of what a book in that condition is worth. An easy recovery of your money. Okay, if I sold this, I would be lucky to get 20% of what I paid. Lucky. I wasn't going to sell it raw and pretend like it was fine because unlike the hoser up north, I don't want to rip people off. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I sold somebody this book pretending like it's like new old stock, fresh out of a box since the 1980s. Nah, I don't roll like that. So during my complaints, he also said, this is very disturbing, out of my control. The other problem is your awful reviews. Can you believe I gave him an awful review? And buyer's remorse, cancellation attempts through WhatNot. What do you do when you get ripped off? Do you just take it on the chin and go, well, sucks to be me, No, you try to fight it, right? That's what I did, okay? It didn't work. So after WhatNot rejected me, I went through 2 months on PayPal trying to get PayPal to help me out. And they kept having issues with everything, and they finally turned me down at the very end of the summer, claiming that my tracking number was incorrect. Well, the tracking number is from Canada. It's not a USPS, not a FedEx tracking number. I tried to let them know, but it was completely ignored. So PayPal and WhatNot both let me down. I know as an eBay seller that I could never get away with this on eBay. It would be impossible. eBay protects the buyer way more than the seller. And WhatNot, especially, they must love this dude because I know he's selling a lot. I don't know how many people he's ripping off, but they protect him. So they need, a few other quotes from him. That book was a new old stock book. If someone touched it up, I don't see why or how. Did not happen while I owned it. Now, a few weeks ago, I was bored and I thought I would give him some crap. So I used a different sign-in on WhatNot to warn some of these people, hey, you might be getting ripped off. And what was funny was the last time I did it, he was selling one of these, another copy of this same book. And I'm like, if anybody pulled a switcheroo, how many copies of ASM 238 do you have, you hoser? Right? If anybody pulled a switcheroo, he could have gotten angry when I asked for a refund, told me he was full of shit, and then switched the book out. I can't see the video receipt of when I bought this. I don't know if this is the same exact one. And when, you know, it's all quick camera work on those WhatNot auctions. So one thing I would like to suggest to you all is if you are on WhatNot, be careful. They're trying to get you into a bidding war with you and other people. And people are paying way too much for a bunch of crap all the time. I think WhatNot is where you get rid of your junk. You put your good stuff in legit auctions where the buyer is protected, right? I did give some crap on and he had a few things that he said in reply before I got blocked again on WhatNot. And he said that I was angry at him for getting married. I'm like, what? I don't give a damn about you getting married, dude. I honestly think your wife seems like a really nice person. You're lucky because you seem like you're probably one of those guys that's never wrong about anything. Your ego's through the roof. I mean, if you listen to him on WhatNot, he spends half the time bragging about himself. It's more bragging about how great he is and how rich he is, how his $1 million comic book collection and this and that. You get more of that than anything. And it gets old after a while. Just to sit there and listen to some dude brag about himself the whole time. So anyway, I am stuck with this book. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it up when I shoot videos. I'm going to try to have it in every video. And it's a reminder to watch out that you have to be really, really careful when you're buying stuff online and somebody is pretending to be an expert, pretending like they're the authority on everything with their antiquated price guide. Dude, nobody goes by price guides anymore. It's the 21st century. I remember back in the 80s when I'd look up when I had Beckett Baseball Card Monthly and I'd go, oh, my Don Mattingly rookie went up $5 from last month. That doesn't work anymore. It's really an average of the 90-day sales on eBay is what something is really valued at. Because most of your transactions go through eBay. So I think that that's all that I had. Do I have any more juicy quotes? Oh, when I was complaining on the PayPal show, I put warning, you will not get a refund. You cannot get a refund. He will not give a refund. And he gave this speech to the buyers saying, yes, you can get refunds. You have to go through WhatNot. And they have to okay it, and then I'll give a refund. Well, that isn't going to happen. WhatNot's going to protect this dude. I'm sure they're making quite a bit of money off of him. And then from the email he sent me, there are no refunds on comic books ever. That's the email that he sent me when I was trying to work something out with this impossible situation. Now, I know this is kind of a Debbie Downer, and I like to be more positive, so I'm trying to have some fun with it. But I'm hoping you'll take this as a lesson, a learning opportunity. If you're going to buy something on WhatNot, what I would do is have a web page open with eBay, and these auctions go quick. So you got to type in the auction and then hit the sold button, and then you can see what the last of these have sold for. And if you're going over that, you're wasting your money, or you're just having fun getting in a bidding war. If that's what you want to do, is have fun trying to outbid John Doe down the road, then go for it, But that really wasn't what I was trying to do. I thought that this was going to be the most valuable comic book in my possession. From the way he sounded on the video, I thought this had a shot at a 9.8. That's why I paid about 800 bucks for this, which I'm ashamed to admit that now. You know, I could, if I would have had my eBay page open, I could have seen that I could get a 9.6 blue label, which means it hasn't been screwed with, for about 800 bucks through eBay and had protections. So I got an 8.0 purple label. I'd be lucky to get 150 bucks out of this. You know, he's saying that I paid half of what it's worth, but what it's worth to you isn't the truth, bro. It's not the truth. So my last word of advice, if you're going to be a seller on WhatNot, don't be a hoser, eh? Don't be a hoser. Peace.